Hey everybody, my name is Jordan Evans, and in today's video, we are going to be covering a lot of music theory in a really easy way. So if you're someone who's wanted to understand scales, memorize all your key signatures, understand what the heck the circle of fifths is and how we can actually use it, stay tuned for this video because we're going to break it down in a really easy way. So before I started the video, I really sloppily drew out the circle of fifths from memory because once you get it, it's so easy. And I bet you if you watch this whole video, you'll be pretty close to drawing it from memory as well. So when I was taking theory all through high school and then in college, circle of fifths was something that we always came back to. And I never really understood how to apply it, how to use it. It was a chore to memorize. As I started playing the piano more and as I started just naturally applying it, I was like, wait a second, all these things are patterns and they make a whole lot of sense. So starting off, we're going to be covering what a scale is. And scales are so important to the circle of fifths. So a scale is just a selection of notes that when we play gives the feel that we want. So this is just a major scale. We're not going to talk too much about what a major scale is. I'm assuming you already know. But on the piano, this is a C instrument. So if you start on C and go to your next C, you can just play white keys and you have everything you need. And it sounds really nice. Let me do something different. I'm going to play something and you just think in your mind if it sounds wrong. Oh, it's like an itch there that you just can't quite reach. And then when I play that final note, it feels good because this last note, in this case, it's a B, a white note, is called the leading tone. And this is really important. So, and I know I have this here, but I'm also going to post actual pictures of it so it's more clear and you really have a good understanding of what's happening. When I play this C scale, there's no sharps or flats or what we call accidentals. So accidentals don't have to be just black keys. There's one that has an E sharp, which is an E up here, which is on a white note. But accidentals just mean sharp, we raise it a half step, flat, we lower it a half step. So in the key of C, we don't have to use any of these accidentals. So you can see on the circle of fifths that the key signature of C has no sharps or flats. So as we travel through the circle of fifths, you'll find that, say I'm playing in the key of G, just using the white notes, it doesn't sound right. I have to make a modification to fit into our new key. Say I played on, let's see, what's one that would sound really bad? E. If I start on E, it's totally gone from that major scale. So the circle of fifths just covers all of our major scales in music. So now that we've kind of talked about scales a little bit, let's talk about what a fifth is. So fundamentally, what a fifth is it's just 5 notes away from wherever we started. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And you can think of this as a Star Wars interval. There we go. So the first 2 notes, da da, are just a Star Wars interval. The reason why the fifth sounds so good and the reason why it's perfect has to do with the overtone series. This is going to be the smallest overtone series tidbit you've ever seen in your life. If I play a low note on the piano, this frequency is actually playing lots of notes, but we're hearing the C mostly. The first partial, if I cut this frequency in half, it's another C. If I cut it into a third, the next note is this G. So notice if I play all 3 of these notes versus just this, they don't sound that much different because the G and the C are so closely related that they sound really nice together. So we call them a perfect fifth. There's some intervals in music that if I was to play, you can instantly tell that because the frequencies clash. Whereas with perfect intervals, they're so close related that they're barely there. Now, this is going to be the circle of fifths part that blows your mind. So stay tuned over on this side. And it's just like a clock. There's 12 positions, and we're just going to go through them clockwise. The first one is C. We go up a fifth to G. Go up another fifth. Now we're on D. Go up another fifth to A. Let's start over. So you can see on the clock we're following around. Now we're on A. Let's go up to E. E. Let's go up to B. So B and B flat are special. B, if we do a perfect fifth, actually takes us to F sharp, which is a black note. So just stay with me. We're on a black note, F sharp. F goes to C, but just think about this. Instead of F going to C, it's F sharp going to C sharp. So now we're on C sharp or D flat. You can see on the thing that usually people refer to this key as D flat because C sharp is really hard to read. So now we're switched to flats, and that's just called the enharmonic equivalent. We can call this C sharp or D flat. It's the same note. And I actually went to a Baptist university for my music degree. If this gives it some context, I'll put the words on the screen so you can see. My professor would always say, choose Jesus or choose Jesus. They sound the same when I say it, but they mean different things. So when I say D flat versus C sharp, the spelling of the notes matter. So we're thinking of this as a D flat. The next fifth up, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, ba da 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 da, ba. All the way there. There's our Star Wars interval still. Is an A flat, and then from A flat we go to E flat. From E flat we go to B flat. Remember, B flat and B are special. They take us to the white key. So B flat goes to F. F goes to C. I'm right back where I started. So mathematically, scientifically, all these things lead back to each other, which is why it's called the circle of perfect fifths. You actually don't have to understand that much to just know that this is really cool. There's something special taking place here. And that's why it sounds really good when we travel to close related keys. So say I'm just playing a progression in the key of C. I could easily switch to the key of G, and it sounds really nice because they're right next to each other. Same thing with C going to F, because it just goes the other way. I could just easily do this, and now I just modulate it into the key of F. And if you play any like Baroque music, especially like Bach, he is going all around the circle of fifths. If you're playing a song in the key of C, just know that you're going to be playing in G and F as well. So now let's talk about the actual key signatures. And the reason why this is important to know is because when we start playing a piece, it'll start with a key signature, and we need to be able to quickly analyze what collection of notes we're using and identify that and know what we're doing. So in the key of C, like we said earlier, all white notes, nothing to worry about, no accidentals as we would call them. Say I go up to the next position, now I'm on G. Ooh, that doesn't feel good. I have to modify the leading tone, because as of right now, F to G, I'm skipping this note. Nice, that sounds perfect. And the note that I added is just an F sharp. Here's the way that we know which one to add. It's just one before whatever key it is. If you see a key signature that just has an F sharp and whatever the last sharp over is, it leads to the key. So you can see over here, and I'll put one up on the screen. The key of G has one F sharp, which is our leading tone to G. And what's so cool, as we move around the circle, we are collecting these sharps, and we keep them as we go to the next one. So now I'm in the key of D. G goes up to D. So now we're in the key of D. We're going to keep this F sharp right here. And now we have to create a new one. Logically, if in the key of G we added an F sharp, which is right before it, just knowing your alphabet, what comes before D? Boom. C sharp is the next sharp that we add. So now we keep the F sharp and the C sharp, and now we're going to A. A. And now we have to add one more, which is the G sharp, because it's right below A. Now we have three sharps. Going on, we go to E. We have to add a D sharp right there because it comes before E. Now we have four sharps. We have F sharp, G sharp, A, B, C sharp, D sharp, right back to E where we started. From E, we go to B. B has five sharps. We keep the C sharp, D sharp, F sharp, G sharp, and now we add an A sharp. So from B, we go to F sharp, or you can also think of this one as G flat. People call them both. I usually think of it as an F sharp. So we have an F sharp, G sharp, A sharp, B natural, C sharp, D sharp. Here's where it gets really interesting, and this is a huge point that you need to understand. Every note has to be recognized. So like A through G, we need to have every single one of those. So in this case, we're playing an F. We could just call that F, F sharp. But then we go from D sharp to F. We're skipping E completely. So it's hard for some people to grasp at first that this E is an E sharp. Even though we're playing harmonically, if I just played this, you'd be like, okay, that's an F. But we have to think of it as E sharp. That way, every note is recognized in the scale. F, G, A, B, C, D, E, F. And these black keys are a little bit confusing at first, but the more music you play, the more you apply it, it becomes really instinctual after a while. So the flats are a little bit different. Let's go back to the C, and we're going to work counterclockwise now. So from C, if we go down 5, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, we get to the F. And so for F, these are a little bit different, the flat notes are. The way we find them is actually you go to the next fifth below F, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, which is the B flat, and that's what we add to it. So whenever you're looking at flat key signatures, just look at whatever the second to last flat is, and that's going to tell us what it is. So in the key of F, you only have one flat. So you just have to know that F has a B flat in it. Because listen to how it would sound without the B flat. So these scales naturally have their leading tone, but they have what's called a tritone right here in the middle, which don't sound pleasing unless you're the Simpsons. Simpsons, yeah, the Simpsons. Or ZZ Top, the that song. So it's very rare that we'll use tritones, and it's very jarring when you hear it. So when we're doing flat keys, we actually correct the tritone by flattening the fourth, creating a B flat right there. And you can see that the key of F just has one B flat. So now let's go down to what's before F, which is a B flat. Check this out. If I don't correct the fourth, we have another tritone by just playing an E natural. So we just flat the E, and notice E is what's next in line. So whatever comes next is what we're flatting. It's so cool how many patterns there are. There's even more than I'm saying. You recognize them as you do it. So now we're in the key of B. We have an E flat, and we go right back to B flat. So let's keep on going. Now we're in E, and then the one that we're adding in the key of E is an A flat. So now we have E flat, or let's go in order. B flat, E flat, A flat. A lot of people will spell bead or come up with words, but I don't think you need mnemonics because these things just lend themselves to each other. If you just practice going up and down the circle of fifths, you'll have it, no problem. So for this one, we are going to be in E. Boom, there's an E major scale just like that. Hello everybody, this is Editor Jordan from the future. For whatever reason, while I was making this video, I just completely omitted A flat. So just notice the new one that we're adding is D flat, which means the next scale that we're going to is D flat. So yeah, now we have 4 flats, and I'll show you what the key signature all by itself looks like this. And now we will carry on to D flat. Now let's go down again, like we said, D flat's the next one. And we have to correct the perfect fourth by making a G flat. So now we have a G flat. Oh, there it is. Boom, and just like that, there's all 12 keys. So we have C, G. I'm not going to go through all of them. That would take too long. But you can see how they all just fit into each other. So now let's talk about what a minor key would be. All of these major scales that we just talked about have what's called a relative minor. So just by starting on a different note, playing the same notes, it will change the feeling of it. That's a C major scale. Now, what we're going to do is we're going to go down 4 steps. And these are half steps in music. So 1, 2, 3, 4... whatever your instrument is, if you're on a guitar, it would just be 4 frets down. Starting on your note, C, B, B flat, A. Check this out. If I play the same exact notes on A, boom, just like that, we're now in minor, which is really interesting. And then we call this the natural minor in music. There's 2 different types, but for today, you only have to know the natural minor. This would be called harmonic minor, where we add in the leading tone, and then the other one is melodic minor, where we actually we sharp the 6th, sharp the 7th, and then go in. The melodic minor is used for singing, so a lot of times when we sing, that sounds nicer, and it's easier to sing. And then when we use the harmonic minor in music, this is a more advanced concept. We have a concept called dominance, and dominance, it's better for them to be major. So say I'm in A minor, and I wanted to create a cadence off of the E. That doesn't sound as powerful as if I went from A to E major back to A. So by that, this is called harmonic minor, and it's not too challenging of a concept, but it's good to know what it is so that later on in the future you can apply it and you can recognize it. So right inside, we call these the relative minors, and they all fit with these major keys in the same exact pattern. So A goes to E. E is the relative minor of G. So the key of G, E minor, has an F sharp in there. See how if I play it starting on G, sounds really happy. I'm taking my dog on a walk in the park. E minor, it's raining and my dog's inside barking all day. So that's the difference. Let's go to the next one. D's relative minor is a B, but you can also see E goes to B. So now we have a C sharp and an F sharp. Oh, whoops. There's the C sharp in there. And the next one would be F. And F we know is A because we're just following around the same thing. We have 3 sharps down. The next one after F is C sharp, which we know following is the same as E. Now the next one after E is B, which for this would be a G sharp. So I won't go through all of them, and so you can see it's really simple once you just understand how they function together. So moving forward, the biggest takeaway that I would encourage you to do if you want to understand the circle of fifths and you want to apply it in songwriting and composing yourself, or if you have a big theory test coming up, just practice going through the fifths on your instrument. So whatever your instrument is, or if you're a singer, just sit down at a piano or even find a picture of a piano online and just figure out what is 5 notes up from wherever I start. That easy. The only exception, like I said, is if you start on any B. If you start on a white B, you go to a black note. If you start on a black B, you go to a white note. Also, use your ear in this. Train yourself to know da da. I can't sing that high. Do da da da. Think about how that perfect fifth feels. So that way, if I'm playing and I'm thinking, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. That doesn't sound like the Star Wars theme. That doesn't sound like Star Wars theme. There we go. So your ear can start to help you with that as well. And I just recommend, before you even worry about the key signatures or anything, think about what is the circle of fifths. C to G, G to D, okay, D to A, and practice doing those things. And then go the other way. C goes to F, F goes to B flat goes to E flat goes to A. And so be able to go backwards and forwards around the clock. Think of it as a clock. There's 12 points. We just go around and then back around and practice that a bunch. Once you get the hang of that, as you go through, start thinking C, no accidentals. G, I have 1 accidental, and think of that as an F sharp. I go to D, I'm gonna keep my F sharp, and now I'm just adding in a C sharp. And the more you do it, you just have to use it. So don't think of it as something you have to memorize. Think of it as a helpful tool that we can use and apply in the future. Thank you so much for watching this video. I hope it helped. Sometimes with these things, as I try and explain them to a beginner, I forget how hard it is at first. So I'm trying to keep myself in the shoes of a beginner so that I can explain it in the best way possible. But I also want you to understand that these aren't the hardest thing ever. I remember starting music and thinking it was so unattainable and all this theory was just crazy, out of this world. But it's really not that bad, I promise you. The more you practice your instrument, just like when we speak languages or learn how to read and write, it's really difficult at first, but the more you immerse yourself in it, it just becomes natural over time. Thanks again for watching this video. If you made it this far, like and subscribe, leave a comment, talk about some theory questions you might want me to make videos about in the future. I love making these videos and I love connecting with you guys. So thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you next time.